It was a quiet, almost peaceful evening at St. Mary's Children's Hospital, but something about the air felt heavy, like the weight of unspoken stories lingering within the stairwells. The hospital was well known for its care, its long history of saving children, and the occasional tale of unexplained occurrences. But tonight, Nurse Claire was about to learn that some stories should never be uncovered. Claire had worked in the pediatric ward for a year now. She'd heard rumors, of course, but never paid them much mind. Every old building has its stories, right? There was one about the basement, a floor shut down for decades after a fire claimed the lives of several children. Nurses and doctors still whispered about strange noises coming from down there late at night. But Claire wasn't one for ghost stories. It was her third night shift this week. And the pediatric ward was eerily quiet. Only a few children remained, most sleeping soundly, their vital signs steady on the monitors. Claire made her usual rounds, checking on each child, adjusting their equipment. Everything seemed normal. That is, until she reached room 108. Room 108 was one of the oldest in the hospital, tucked away at the end of the hall. It held a single bed and an old-fashioned crib that no one had used in years. The room was generally kept vacant. Whenever a child was placed there, something always felt wrong. Parents would report strange things, lights flickering, the bed shifting on its own, and most unnervingly, a child's voice calling out when no child was there. Claire had never had to work in room 108, but tonight, as she passed by, she noticed the door was slightly ajar. A faint light flickered from within, casting long, dancing shadows across the hallway. She hesitated, then cautiously pushed the door open. The room was cold, far colder than the others. The temperature seemed to drop the moment she stepped inside. The small cot was empty, but the crib in the corner, it was rocking gently, as though someone had just left it, suddenly. A soft, childlike giggle echoed through the room. Claire froze, her breath catching in her throat. Her eyes darted to the crib, where she thought she saw something move. A small, barely visible figure appeared and vanished in a blink, like a trick of the light. She stepped closer, her heart pounding. It had to be a draft, right? She reached out to steady the rocking crib when she heard a voice, soft and sweet, yet full of sadness. "Help me," Claire recoiled, looking round the empty room. The voice was coming from nowhere and everywhere at once. She turned toward the door, but it slammed shut with a force that sent a jolt through her body. Panic surged in her chest. She twisted the handle, but it wouldn't budge. "Please, don't leave me." Claire spun around, her eyes wide. In the corner stood a small child, no more than 5 years old. She wore a hospital gown, stained with something dark. Her face was pale, her eyes wide and hollow. She smiled, but it was a sad, twisted smile that didn't reach her eyes. Why are you here?" Claire whispered, her voice trembling. The little girl took a step forward, her bare feet making no sound on the cold floor. "They left me," she whispered. "They promised they would come back, but they never did." Claire's breath quickened. She'd heard of children who had passed away alone, their spirits lost, unable to move on. Who was this little girl? Suddenly, the lights flickered violently, plunging the room into darkness. When they came back on, the child was gone. The room was empty again, except for the crib. As Claire took a cautious step toward it, the walls seemed to close in. The air grew thick, suffocating. She could hear faint whispers, children's voices coming from the walls themselves. "We're still here," they whispered. "We never left. We can't." Her head swam with dizziness. Whispers grew louder, more frantic, until they were all she could hear. She stumbled backward, her mind racing for an escape. That's when she saw it. A small, tattered photograph on the floor next to the crib. She bent down, her fingers trembling, and picked it up. It was an old, yellowed photo of a smiling family, a mother, a father, and their young daughter. The little girl in the photo was the same girl who had stood before her, the same sad smile, the same hollow eyes. The photo slipped from her fingers. In that moment, Claire realized the truth. The child had died here, forgotten, abandoned. Her soul was trapped, waiting for the parents who never came back. The lights flickered once more, and a cold, icy chill crawled up her spine. The voice returned, louder than before. "Help me," the child cried, her voice filled with desperation. "Please, help me." Claire bolted to the door, throwing her shoulder into it with all her strength. It finally burst open, and she stumbled into the hallway, gasping for air as the door slammed shut behind her. The whispers faded. As she made her way back to the nurse's station, she overheard two of her colleagues. "Did you hear about the little girl in room 108? One asked. "What about her?" the other replied. "She was abandoned here a long time ago," the first nurse said quietly. "They say she never left. That room, it's cursed." Claire's blood ran cold. She knew the story now, and she knew that somewhere in that forgotten room, the child was still waiting, still crying, for someone to finally take her home. Thanks for watching. If this story sent a chill down your spine, don't forget to like and subscribe for more tales from the shadows.